My name is Jason Lindner, creator, filmmaker, jack of all trades, and I also am the founder and CEO of Ideas Productions.
I'm John. I go by John Average. I make hip hop music, I guess. I was born in Portland, Oregon, but my family moved here when I was around 2. So I've been here most of my life. I've lived in Snellville, around Stone Mountain area, and then in Clarkston. So.
I was born in Osage Beach, Missouri, and my parents were from Marriott, so we moved around quite a bit. Lived in 8 or 7 different states, but moved from Hawaii to Georgia when I was in 8th grade.
I feel like my family moved here because, I don't know, I feel like a lot of black people just moved to Atlanta for great opportunities. So I feel like that was probably one of the reasons we came over here. And I think my mom went to school over here as well.
Going back to my reason, just because my parents both work for Marriott hotel chain, so he had an opportunity to be a general manager of a hotel here, so quick to accept job offers. It really was from an early age. I've always been interested in film and videos, particularly, as opposed to photography. As early as first grade, I would always steal my parents' VHS camera and get the neighborhood kids and anyone I could involved to make little short films, narratives, jackass movies, stuff like that. So I've always known that was my niche, and I was going to be studying that in the long run. I currently own a little bit, so I can do whatever. I own a stabilizer, gimbal, Sony A7S, but it all depends on the budget. I like to rent cinema cameras and a crew if allowed with the budget and whatnot. So it's really weird. A lot of editors have a weird schedule, especially me being freelance. I work for myself, so I create my own hours. So I just can't stand to be inside on the computer when it's so nice out. So a lot of the times I find myself editing in the middle of the night, and then getting up or staying up all night and then going to have breakfast and sleeping until 2. So it's kind of like a weird schedule, but it really is a long process. So I don't know. I like to think however long you shoot, you're gonna edit times 8. So it's a process, but it's always nice to come back with fresh eyes and leave an edit and let it marinate for a second. I think the first time I turned that and kind of went under that alias was when I entered this music video contest. So you had to make a mock music video for this band, and it was for a reggae band called Revolution. And I tagged it onto that video and actually won the contest, won tickets, got to go out and meet the band and stuff. And that was when I started just rolling with that, tagging ideas on a lot of stuff. But it wasn't until later in college when I actually had a logo made for that and started taking it a little more seriously with all my work under that name. I'm really hands-on and I like to do it the DIY style, so for the most part it really has been just me. I like to be involved in all the processes, coloring, editing, hands-on directing, shooting, and post-production work as well. So it's again, if I had a bigger budget, I would love to bring on people, hire them to do the best ability they can do. But at most of the times right now I'm working with budgets where I just like to work alone, and sometimes you can't rely on others. If you want it done the right way, you gotta do it yourself.
First exposure to hip hop. I was really into hip hop. I'd say towards the end of elementary school and the beginning of middle school. I think T.I. was really popular, E40, kind of the Snap, Crunk era, Lil Jon. And then I kind of gravitated away from hip hop and got into more hardcore bands and drum and bass type stuff. But then I got back into hip hop in high school, and it was mainly through kind of more underground stuff. So I was listening to a lot of MF Doom's one of my favorite artists of all time. I was listening to Ghostface from Wu-Tang. I was listening to Blue and Exile. And so I think from listening to the beats, I've always really felt like I gravitated towards beats and nice production. Mad Lib is one of my favorite artists. He did released Mad Villainy with Doom, and I feel like that kind of inspired me to decide that I could maybe try and write. But between that and I saw a lot. I used to be on YouTube a lot, so I'd see artists around my age, 14, 15, trying to they'd rap and upload videos onto YouTube, and I would see that all the time, and like, I feel like I could do that too. So I wrote my first poem/rap when I was around 14 to Digital Planet's Cool Like That instrumental. No, I do not. I want to learn bass really bad, and I've been dabbling with beats like my whole career. I think I'm trying to get more into making beats and then maybe pick up a bass eventually. I performed for my first time when I was, what was that, like 15? Yeah, at the school talent show. That was like the first time I did a rap in front of like people. It was a really big crowd, surprisingly, and they really liked it a lot. I think that was probably one of the main things that motivated me to like keep doing it. Cause I feel like before, like I was just like doing it as not like a joke, but like as a hobby almost, and just like me and my friends would record raps on crappy USB mics at each other's houses rather. But then after the talent show, I decided to take it more seriously. So my first time was I'm 15. A lot more comfortable. I've just been doing it for so long now. I feel like I don't really get as nervous or intimidated. I was never really that nervous or intimidated because, to be honest, I used to sing more in talent shows at elementary school for our school. So I guess that would technically be the first time, but like as opposed to now, it's just like really natural and really like, I don't know, I can read a crowd, I can gauge like what I should be doing, different techniques to, get the crowd's energy going, and then just knowing when to pull back and when to go hard. It's kind of something that you learn with experience and time. So I would really just say through friends, and I mean, I guess people say this all the time, but it's really just like the people, like I feel like I knew a lot of people who just knew other people, and I used to work with a collective of artists. We went by like Backpack Music, and the dudes who ran that studio, John and Anthony, they also had an intern named Michael Wyatt, and he's actually my engineer currently. And just getting involved with stuff through them. This group called Belmont, they're from like East Atlanta. And I know a couple dudes from that group, and like talking to them about how to book shows and like how to get more into the scene, I feel like really helps me to just begin to navigate it on my own, because I don't really have like a whole like team of like managers and book like all my own shows and have to discuss like payments and stuff. So just like it's really just knowing people and knowing the right people and who aren't gonna try and take advantage of you. To be honest, I won't say that it really kicked off until like 2015, 2014, like the end of 2014, 2015-ish, because like I feel like I always knew people, but I don't feel like I really had my foot really in the door until like around that time. I could like just be able to really try and get my own shows based off of shows that I booked in the past, which is like a really big thing if you're an artist. Like people want to know what you've done in the past, or at least like your reputation. So, actually last year, Alan Thomas and Nia Lyrical, the Family Orchestra, brought me and a couple other artists, Devin Malik, to Florida. We did like a little mini Florida tour where we performed in Orlando, as well as I want to say, was it Tallahassee? I think it was, but I'm not positive. But we performed in Florida, went down there and did some shows, and then in May, that was in October, so then October of what, 2017? I can't remember. Either 2017 or 2018, and then in May of the next year we went to up to Tennessee to do a show. So I mean, it wasn't like the full like tour experience, but I mean, it still was kind of like similar. And from what I would assume, and it was really dope. Like I enjoyed just bonding with the guys on the bus and just learning more about your fellow creatives and just being exposed to crowds in other cities and being able to get your name out there. It was all really neat. I don't know, trust the people that you're with and just like, I don't know, don't let it get too serious or just in your mind, like kind of just relax like it was a home show. I feel like that's like one thing I took away. I definitely want to start a band eventually. I'm interested in doing that. And then like I said, I want to pick up bass. I think that would be cool. I love bass as an instrument and I feel like gravitated towards it. One of my best friends in rap contemporaries, I guess, Raheem Smith, he plays bass, or played bass, and I always enjoyed it. I want to play like electric, and play like stand up, but yeah, and I want to get into beats and just like experiment with other genres while trying to incorporate some hip hop elements. So, no, my main producer, his name is Glenn Gretzky. He's a great dude. We've been working together since the Backpack days. So that was back in like 2010, 2011, 2012. So we've been working together since then, and he's like my main producer. Other than that, I got a couple other guys that I work with pretty frequently. Bitchoy Beats, and then I had some beats. I used to work with a dude named Letty, and he's got some beats on both my new project and my older project. So not really self-produced. I really want to get there though. That's really why I want to learn beats, to be able to make my own beats and kind of just be at home, like really be able to ruminate on my style and just like develop my artistry further. So I like that question just because I feel like a lot of like newer artists are always inquire about that. It's just kind of like, how do I get beats, or like I have songs, but where do I get beats? And like I feel like when I started out, it was kind of just the same as everybody else. Like just go on YouTube and there's lots of beats, like, and you can just write your songs to either more popular mainstream beats, or you can find a producer and reach out to them and ask them if they'll lease you a beat, if they'll give you the beat for free as long as you're not trying to sell it. And so like for me, that's what I used to do. But I mean, these days, I was sitting on a lot of beats. I still have beats that I'm sitting on from producers that want to collab. And so I just kind of put projects together almost like months and years in advance, like, cause I just write a lot. So I just now got the capabilities to be able to record more frequently whenever I want. So, you know, before that I was always having to go to a studio, find somebody who had a setup, but now I can kind of just have a beat, write to it, and then record it pretty much whenever I want. So that's pretty cool.
I'd say it really started when I started working a lot with Shilo's Michi. He's like a dancer in Atlanta. He does a lot of stuff, the dance culture, and like it's a whole phenomenon of kids who are just obsessed with this dance culture in Atlanta. And once I got my foot in the door with them and started becoming his main guy he would go to, I started opening other doors in the hip hop community, as well as me just being a diehard fan. I like to go to a lot of shows and just get myself out there that way. But I really started working with him, I guess, because he had a lot of access to bigger mainstream artists that I would never be able to come in contact with alone. John, of course. I work a lot with John from an early time. I've done music videos for Lil Wayne, Riff Raff, Lil Yachty, Cody Shane, just a lot of Atlanta people, but also, you know, I also like to try to work with a lot of underground artists that don't really have the platform yet, because there's so much undiscovered talent in Atlanta, and it gets swept under the rug with all these mainstream studios and stuff going on. I think it started when he was in my music class. Remember that?
This is crazy.
We were like, it was like contemporary jazz, rock and roll class.
Yeah.
And this man, like on the first or third day, he gave his mixtape to our like super like official professor. And I was like, what? Why would you just give him your hip hop tape? And then the next day, the professor came back and in front of the whole class gave him an incredible compliment and raved about his tape. And I was like, well, I gotta listen to that then. If this guy teaching us over here at Georgia State is talking about his mixtape, went home and listened to it immediately. So that was when I kind of pulled him aside and we started, chopping it up from there.
It's actually funny. We actually got assigned to be in a group project together. Like before, like we'd even known each other. Like he made videos and that I made hip hop, and yeah, he just talked to me. He's like, "Yo, I make videos," and I was like, "That's crazy," because I've been looking for somebody to link with on some videos. Cause I have like lots of music that I'm about to drop, so it's kind of like I don't know. It's a really interesting coincidence, like a fate type of thing. Like it's really dope. And yeah, the professor, he really liked the tape. He told me that he used to work with like B.O.B. He was like, I see like your talent, like, and I used to work with Bobby Ray. And I was just like, that's crazy, like. So yeah, I mean, through that class, that's how we linked up.
I mean, a lot of stuff is still unreleased or unfinished. We do work on a ton of stuff. We used to do like little series where we would release like not real full music videos, but kind of just like narrative or visuals, or John was able to release soundtracks as well. But we're trying to get back into it. We have a lot of stuff coming out still. So
yeah, I feel like we've lost a few videos. But I mean, like he said, we've made a lot of stuff, and we still got some unreleased stuff. But like as far as like what we put out, say we've got like 8, 9, maybe 10 things around there. But yeah, it's really, I feel like I'm trying to release, it was hard to release music at a pace that he just likes to work. And so like eventually it got to the point where like, I don't know if I have any more songs that we could like do stuff with. So, but now I've got a lot more music and about to release pretty soon. So this is really cool. We're about to shoot some more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's still in school, and I'm going away from Georgia State. I graduated in 2016, so ever since then, I feel like I'm not around as much because we used to be, bounded by our location. But we're gonna get back to it, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff coming from him. Like our magnum opus is yet to come. Yeah, so
yeah,
be on the lookout.
For me, I don't feel like it's changed that much. I mean, I feel like it's always been, for lack of a better word, people describe it as like really cliquey. Like if you know the right people, like then you'll get a lot more opportunities. But a lot of times people aren't even trying to meet you to give you those opportunities, because if you don't know somebody that they know, it can just be really cliquey. But I feel like it's maybe not as bad as other places, because you hear all the time like people want to move here, and it's like I feel like Atlanta artists work with each other and support each other, and I feel like it might be kind of like that just because like a lot of people know a lot of people, so like it's more like, oh buddy, and I'd be willing to make a song with you for way less than I would normally charge. But I feel like it might be like that everywhere, so I don't feel like it's changed that much.
But I also feel like it's important to note, like as a whole, like the hip hop community, I feel like when we first met each other, 2012 and stuff, like it was much more like talent based, and I feel like from there to now, you see a shift in the whole culture as far as like, you see a lot of, social media stars and like kind of going towards the virality, like, artists will be put on and like people will be reach mainstream success, not based off their talent or their music, strictly because they're doing, some crazy outlandish video or just something to get attention. Like, a lot of these artists like are becoming artists, but first were on me or on Dr. Phil or something like that. So I feel like that's a lot more normal now that, talent is overlooked for if you have that wow factor or if you have crazy hair. So I feel like that is a shift that's happened since early on, but that's gonna happen. That's gonna come back to the music as well.
I definitely agree. Like, it can't be overlooked. Like the virality of things, it's just kind of like, I don't know, shifted the culture a little bit. Like just even further away from talent. I definitely agree.
I feel like Atlanta is like a big hip hop hub, especially from outsiders, because we just have so many studios and specifically a lot of hip hop music going on in the city, and it's it's just a whole culture, you know. If you like music, there's no way you're gonna miss a tour living in Atlanta. Like it always come through, and it's just like everyone who's a lot of hip hop artists live here, so a lot of people come here to work with them, and they all collaborate with each other. And like John said, it's kind of a cliquey area. Like Atlanta is like a hip hop hub. So many studios and stuff. It's just meant to be. A lot of people come here, try to get on, make it, and be visible in the city like that.
I think it's the authenticity is probably one of the biggest things, but then it's also, I feel like important to just, like hip hop, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, it kind of works in cycles, but it's just like, it always feels like, you know, one of the three major cities between Atlanta and New York and New York City, but really all of New York, and, or one of the three major places rather, in LA, like, it just feels like at one point one of them either always is just like really big, and I feel like right now it's just like been Atlanta's time for a little bit, for a while, and I think that like the authenticity of the sound and just like the culture, you know, trap culture is really big, and just like that just kind of came from here, so it's like you can't really, it's hard to emulate, it's a hard to emulate sound and aesthetic and style that like you can only really, I feel like you can only really feel it and do it like if you're from here. It doesn't really seem super organic.
I feel like all the early influences kind of set the standard.
Yeah.
Jeezy's, the legendary Gucci Man, all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
just created Atlanta as that place.
They kind of really set the bar, set the tone. And then of course Outkast, Source Awards, South got something to say. So I feel like before all that, South, really like the whole South, but specifically Atlanta wasn't really taken as seriously in hip hop, and now we're kind of just like on top, so I feel like it's just our time. One of the biggest things is just like remembering that you don't want to compare yourself to anybody. You don't really want to, like, as cool as it is to like be inspired and look up to people, and like, you know, you're gonna have friends and contemporaries that are either gonna be maybe doing more than you or doing less, whatever, but I feel like it's just good to remember that you can't gauge your success based off of others. So it's just like to really grind heavy. You know, you're gonna be wanting to have a lot of content, have a lot of shows lined up if you have stuff to promote, and just like meeting and networking. But you know, then at the same time, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. So I feel like it's like a really heavy focus on balance and just like knowing that, I mean, it also, the location is a huge factor. Like the fact that I'm here in Atlanta is a huge factor in why I've even gotten as far as I have. And I just feel like, you know, maybe if I wasn't here, it'd be a lot more difficult. It's just like the internet, you know, is also a huge resource of just like being able to get your content, your music in front of millions, billions of people, like, and it's just like the potential for that is limitless. So, you know, that the internet has made it a lot easier, but I just feel like, you know, remembering that it's usually going to be a slow grind, and to just make sure you have your resources, your ducks in a row, for lack of a better phrase, and just take it one step at a time. I mean, I think one of the main ones is just like income inequality. Atlanta, you know, has probably, I think it's the statistic with like the highest income inequality of like any city in the United States. So I feel like just like between across racial lines, like we should really, and like not even like across racial lines, but even just like outside of racial lines, the income inequality is like huge, and it's like a really big deal that I feel like could be addressed, but you know, it's like a really big issue to tackle. We got homelessness, kind of a really big deal, especially with the closing of the largest shelter. I think that was in like 2017, 2018. I think those are like two of the biggest things that come to mind off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there anything that people need to be paying attention to that they aren't, do you think?
I feel like those two things definitely kind of get, you know, swept under the rug. It's just like with how wealthy people are here, and with how wealthy like it looks, it kind of can be hard to feel like, oh, it's like there's a big income gap because it just looks like everybody's doing really well.
I don't claim to make clothes or anything, but I do like to put out merch every once in a while, and that was my third season of merch. It was a collaboration with another Atlanta brand called Atlanta Stand, and it was just a collaborative effort to make t-shirts, 2 different colorways, and of course any kind of pop-up shop, the goal is to increase visibility and just get those sold. So I try to create a little event around it and not just something sell them online to get in the mail. Come and get a bag person, more of an event. It was at the Real Milk Studios. It's right off the Beltline behind Ladybird Mess Hall. And I have 2 ladies of mine, friends of mine that I know there. They live there, and they've transformed the space into a whole art gallery. Super cool, all white walls. So they were kind enough to let me host it there, and I work a lot with them. So it was just kind of perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like to be put in that box all the time. So I'm working with people that are like, oh yeah, he's a cameraman, and that's a cool title and all, but I'm not just a creator as well. I'm starting to dip my feet into the event coordination recently. Throwing these monthly events called Scramble with 2 partners of mine, Original Fani and Donnie Slater. And together we've kind of tried to create platforms for artists like John who wouldn't necessarily have a huge show or a huge reach on their own. So we're trying to combine having bigger artists and smaller artists, and also curate an event where it's an atypical venue. A lot of the times I go to venues that are all in the same spot, Aisle 5, the bakery, and Murmur Gallery, and it's kind of the same thing. A lot of people hugging the walls, kind of bummed that you spent $5 to get in, so I kind of wanted to create an event that is a lot more than just that. People are excited and want to come out for. So definitely going to see John Average on one of the Scrambles coming up. We just had our first one last month. Sometimes it's just visibility. I go out, of course the network, the internet is a crazy tool for that, but I go out a lot of the times, show face at events and shows that I necessarily don't want to go to. I pass out business cards. I go in with the set goal of trying to increase my visibility, meet new people. Because once again, it's all about who you know. Networking is crazy in Atlanta. You never know who you're gonna bump into going to one of these little art events or galleries. So really just continuing to keep going and work, staying consistent, busy every day, flooding with content. People are gonna see and become aware eventually. So. Aside from the Scramble events, I'm too nice of a person. I'm trying to be really mean and turn a lot of work down because I accept too much, and I just want to focus on bigger productions and not just pumping out $800 videos, 5 of them a month. I'd much rather work on one body of work for a lot longer and be proud of it once it comes out, as opposed to just plug and chug for the money. So I'm really trying to be selective with who I work with, not just talent-wise, but just because I would like my productions to be a lot more bring to the next level. I'm really not interested too much in the narrative. I've done a number of things like 48-hour film festival, stuff like that. But to me, I don't know. I'm just a huge fan of music, so I really just like to dabble in that. I might be going on my first tour next month. So I might be touring Europe with an artist all of April, but I'm just trying to figure it out. But other than that, it would be with an artist called Nar, and another artist supporting act would be Germ. It would be going through all of Europe, and I've really never been out of the country aside from a cruise, which I don't count. So we'd be going to Poland, Russia, Amsterdam, Ukraine, Slovakia, a bunch of places, and do a tour. So that would be really cool because I've never, like John, had the opportunity to tour. So I feel like it would be a really cool opportunity for me and something that I would enjoy doing. He's an artist, so it's he has shows in every of these cities. It's just a whole set tour. So it's I think it's 15 dates, but it'll be the whole month of April, so that'll be really cool.
Cool, man.
Especially if it's out of town, then the real big thing is just making sure you have all your equipment, double checking your battery, especially if you're going to a true festival, a lot of times you don't have power, you just have your car and your tent or whatever. So it's a struggle, trying to prep for those, but as long as you bring extra stuff and are ready, you should be good. But I did a lot of work for Electric Forest, which is one of my favorite music festivals. It's like EDM. And I won a video contest through them as well, so they're very understanding and letting me come back and assist in different stuff like that with the media side of things. And also another festival I like to work with a lot was Okeechobee. It was down in the Everglades in Florida, but it's no longer happening. This is the first year they kind of didn't do it. It was very cool working with them.
It's like home. It's really, Atlanta's big, but it's small. So I just feel like it's really comfortable. I really enjoy the authenticity of it and just like all the different cultures, but specifically like just being black and being in Atlanta feels like, you know, really great. It feels like really comfy. Cause you know, you go other places and then you just realize, I feel like every black person from Atlanta has felt that, where you just go somewhere else and you're just like, oh damn, I forget, like, this isn't like how it is, like, and so, I don't know. It's between that and the music, you know, everywhere's trying to be Atlanta right now. I'm just feeling like really confident in your city and our sound. You know, we could work on our sports, but
Yeah.
you know, it's
just a melting pot of culture. There's so much going on, and really blessed to have the opportunity to attend school here, because I feel like, unlike a lot of other colleges or big universities, it's kind of a sheltered community. You know, you go to the restaurants for that college and stuff, but living in Atlanta, I feel like you mature quickly because you're just thrown in the city, and it is one of the biggest small cities, so I feel like a lot of people know each other, and it's just a really cool spot. I'm glad I went to Georgia State and got the opportunity to live downtown, not Milledgeville or something like that.
same. I mean, the biggest thing I feel like is just opportunity. So many different opportunities. Like a few years ago, I got to open for two of my favorite artists of all time, Zero and Bus Driver. And you know, Bus Driver's like the OG in the LA rap scene community, and like just everything. Like he's been rapping for two decades, maybe even three. Like he's been making music for forever. So like, you know, having the opportunity to be with him and, you know, rap in the same venue and all that. It was just crazy, because then after the show, he like complimented me, told me I was dope, and it was just, I don't know, surreal. And I feel like the opportunity may not have presented itself just if I wasn't in the same, you know, if I wasn't in Atlanta. So, just like what Jason said, it's really cool. It's like almost every artist is gonna come here, like even the more indie alternative artists are gonna try and make a stop in Atlanta. So just having the opportunity to do that, having the opportunity to meet like even bigger artists, like huge artists that I would have probably never run into casually. Just having the opportunity and platform to be able to network so efficiently. It's really dope.
Yeah, and I would say the same. Just what it has to offer, the resources and the opportunity that it's allowed us to have in living here, especially working in the field we do in hip hop. It's just Atlanta's the hub for that, so opportunity.
Definitely, Glenn Gretzky, my producer. You know, Michael Wyatt, my engineer. He does a lot of Atlanta artists and even other artists. Like he works with them. Alan Thomas and Nia Lyrical, the Family Orchestra, they're really dope. The big homie Devin Malik, Shalom Little, my friend Mariah Parker. She's kind of had like a viral moment when she won county commissioner, I feel like, in one of the Athens districts, and she's like really like pro-black, bro, powerful. And she's like a really dope MC as well. Like she's incredible. She helped me book shows in Athens, and she's real dope. Raheem Smith, but he don't really like rap like that. So, but he's dope. He's on my next project. I don't know, man. It's like there's so many. I feel like for time's sake, I've been trying to go down that list. But those artists that I said, they're all real dope. Just check them out if you get the chance. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons. Not just artists as well as like visual artists and stuff too. But musicians, I would say off top, gotta pay attention to Kenny Mason, Wiley ATL, John, of course. He's about to wake him up with this new stuff he's about to drop.
Night Breaks, she's dope.
Yeah, it's too much to name really, but Beauregard,
yeah.
Corporate Lingo, Alpha Records seems like they're kind of putting on a whole nother group of kids. Hanzo on the production. Just not too many people. Well, you just missed one show.
Yeah, I was at Gallery 992 with the homie Shalom Little. Oh, and Jamie Cornelia.
That was Thursday.
Yeah, it was Thursday. But yeah, check out Jamie. But if usually I'm at 529, I feel like that's usually where I'm at. I'm trying to branch out and book some more shows in different places, but I haven't like been on a real like run lately, so I've been buckled down trying to get this album ready. But it's almost done, so I'm gonna be trying to book some more shows, so you can catch me probably at 529, but hopefully some other places as well. Trying to get that Aisle 5 show.
And Scramble.
And Scramble, of course. Aisle 5 is really dope. I mean, most people know about it. I like the Vinyl. That's a venue. I mean, just all the venues that are popular, I feel like are pretty solid. Like Terminal West has some of my favorite shows. I just like the way their stage is set up and their production is really good. But you know, between those places,
I feel like the Bakery is a place that's given a lot of voice to
Bakery, yeah.
Unheard, so.
Gallery 992 as well.
Bakery's a crazy one. I know Variety Playhouse did a whole new revamp recently, so they have a new interior. Yeah. I dwell a lot in East Atlanta Village. I like to eat over there. Argosy, Gaja Korean bar is really good.
Gaja is flames.
Flatiron. Are you going to? Yeah, I don't know. John, you might be. You go to that Jamaican spot?
I mean, I like mangoes. They're dope.
That one on Edgewood.
Which one on Edge? Jamaican on Edgewood?
Yeah.
Oh, the Jamaican spot on Edgewood. They're pretty good, yeah. My favorite place closed down. The name escapes me. I used to go there all the time. I can't
I
remember.
go to Victory Sandwich Bar a good bit too. There's a new place called Golden Eagle on Memorial. They have crazy. I brought him there. They have crazy cocktails. My
Their
favorite
drinks are
cocktails.
so crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. Get a flannel blazer there. Woo! And they have after midnight only. If you come after midnight, they have assorted pigs in a blanket with different dips. You can only get it on Friday and Saturday after midnight.
I think Lady Bird is really dope. They have great food, great atmosphere. I like their brunches.
So yeah.
And then I'm sure people have heard of like Chops, Lobster Bar. They're amazing, fire. I mean, I'm kind of like an environmentalist a little bit, so I just really hope that we can focus less on development. And if we're going to continue to focus so much on development, like we can focus more on like maybe more sustainable development. And I guess that's something I should have brought up. More in the segment where you asked about the changes, because I feel like we could really do more for as much as development as we're doing. We could really do more to like be more environmentally conscious of like what we're doing. So that's one of the things. And then as far as like the art scene goes, I want us to foster more of a sense of even more of a sense of community, and like maybe see like the bigger artists really like coming out and lending like more advice or opportunities to the smaller artists. And I feel like it's got the potential to happen. I've never been to LA, but I feel like maybe in LA like it'd be really even more of a juxtaposition, or just like more of a between like the higher level artists and the lower level artists. But I feel like here maybe there's more of a chance for that to kind of co-mingling to develop, for lack of a better word. So I'd love to see that too.
Yeah, not really what I'd like to see in the city, but what I am seeing is a lot of development, a lot of gentrifications, movie theaters, and stuff moving into the city. It's becoming a lot more busy, but a lot more people moving here. See that phrase a lot. Don't move here, be full. So, we'll see where it goes.
Shout out to Ideas Productions. Shout out to Adam.
Shout out to Adam, shout out to John Havage. Shout out to Scramble, be on the lookout for the Scramble shows coming up.
Shout out to Glenn Gretzky, Michael Wyatt, Jack Preston. I forgot to bring him, homie Jack. It's crazy.
Really just shout out to Atlanta, yeah.
Shout out to the city, yeah. You can find me at pretty much everything's John Average. Twitter, John Average. Instagram, John Average. YouTube is Mr. MR, John Average. SoundCloud, John Average. Bandcamp, John Average. Pretty much JOHN, Average everywhere.
Yeah, same here. It's pretty simple. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Ideas Productions. You search me under ideas, whatever. Yeah.